There. There's my three people.
Hello.
Alright. In September 2025 in St. Louis, Missouri, 4 teenagers were arrested after they stole a vehicle and crashed into a utility pole while fleeing from police. The teens, ages 12, 14, 15, and 16, took the car while it was parked at a gas station and its owner was inside. This is not the first time after there was a string of car thefts and break-ins over the previous summer. Due to constraints put in place in our juvenile justice system, the juveniles I just mentioned were not confined and released to go back out into the community where they reoffended. Today I'm addressing the problems existing within our justice system and how we need to look at changing how criminals are held accountable. When I became a police officer, I wanted to make a difference in my community and protect my friends and family. Too many times I have arrested career criminals with lengthy histories for judges and prosecutors to drop charges or give an undeserved plea deal and probation, which releases them back into our cities where they continue victimizing innocent people. I first want to discuss the issues with the juvenile offenders not being held accountable. Many times, teenagers commit serious felonies only to be released because of constraints put in place in the juvenile justice system. According to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, in August 2025, several teens carjacked an Uber driver at gunpoint. After they were caught, they were released to parents, and within 26 hours, the same teenagers committed another armed carjacking and were rearrested. It's clear that juveniles fear no consequences when there is none. Across the country in Florida, 2 teen girls were arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. The target was a classmate who the girls were going to sacrifice in a blood ritual. The reaction of the suspects, as seen on ABC News, was a video of them laughing about their circumstances in the back of a police car. The problem is, our system tries hard to re-educate and offer incentives to criminals instead of focusing on victims' feelings and the communities affected by crime. Many other Americans feel the same way. Lawmakers in Florida have proposed legislation to hold judges civilly liable for releasing violent criminals who reoffend. The Florida Judicial Accountability for Irresponsible Leniency Act was introduced to do just that and allows victims to sue judges for damages caused by their failure to uphold the oath and lock away violent criminals. This specific bill was introduced after a Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zaruska, was murdered by a repeat offender on a North Carolina subway, which made national news. Had the killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., been incarcerated for the over 30 previous felony crimes he had committed, that young woman would still be alive. Another example, in May 2025, 35-year-old Daniel Spencer was released on bail after being arrested during an underage sex sting. After his release, he was again arrested after the murder of a 5-year-old girl. The low bail set in place by Judge Baker Carper allowed this violent sexual predator back onto the streets where a 5-year-old girl was murdered. This, coupled with calls in recent years for police reform and defunding, have seen law enforcement professionals leave the profession or driven morale so low that they stopped doing proactive work for fear of being charged, prosecuted, and condemned by activist judges and prosecutors. According to the Times in 2021, Portland, Oregon had vigilante groups roaming the streets after the police department's budget was cut, and homicides and drug overdoses tripled in that number. On the other side of the U.S., in New York City, Channel 5 Town Central reported NYPD has seen 14,500 officers leave in the past 4 years, with 300 leaving in the first month into 2026 after concerns with the new mayor, Zoran Mamdani's policies. On the opposite hand, in Washington, D.C., just this past year, significant improvements to safety were seen after the government's crackdown on crime. According to the Daily Caller, since the National Guard was activated in D.C., 11,205 arrests, including drug dealers, gang members, and 30 homicide suspects, were taken off the street. According to the same source, murder rates dropped 61% compared to that of last year. When you empower the police and the criminals and take criminals off the street, you have safer communities and neighborhoods start to thrive. All I have said seems easy to comprehend. Hold criminals accountable, regardless of age, make judges and PAs do their job, and support our police. In summary, if we want to stop crime from taking over our cities and make our country better for our children and grandchildren, we need to educate ourselves and use our voices to elect lawmakers and officials who represent the people, not corporations or extreme political agendas. I want a country where my kids can play outside and ride their bike down the street without the fear of them being cut down by some of the likes I have just mentioned earlier. Our system's in need of reform, and it's on us. Thank you for your attention in this matter.